Do you want more listings in sales in the second quarter than you had in the first quarter? Yes or no?
Yes.
All right, good job. So write this thought down. To be a great salesperson, you first have to learn how to be a great communicator. To be a great salesperson, you first have to learn how to be a great communicator. Communication is about focusing on others. It is more about listening than speaking. Write that down. It's more about listening than it is about speaking. So I wrote down here, great salespeople are curious. Great salespeople are curious. We use scripts and dialogues like, so I'm curious, Mr. Jones, when you sell this home, where are you moving to? Florida? Wow, that's fantastic. Of all the places you could have chosen, how did you choose Florida? Well, I chose it because I have kids down there. You have kids down there? Fantastic. Boys or girls? Boys. That's fantastic. You see, it's all about being curious and being interested about what's going on. Great salespeople then listen to the answers and determine what solution they will provide or what advice they'll give. Okay? It's not about trickery. It's about listening to what the client needs and then giving that information to the client. Great salespeople listen to understand. Now, think about what I'm saying. We had some role play this morning. We had some situations that came up, and some of you were doing the role play with me, but you weren't listening. You were telling me. You weren't asking the questions. You were just talking to me. You weren't paying attention to what I was saying. You were thinking about what? What to say next. And you do that because you don't want to look foolish in the eyes of the buyer or the seller. So you're always thinking, what do I say next that's smart and wonderful and cool? When all they really want and need is for you to listen to them and hear what they're saying. Dale Carnegie, write this down. When's the last time you read Dale Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence People? When's the last time you read that book? One of the great books of all time. There's a line in there where he talks about painting a sign on his forehead. What does the sign say? Make me feel important. That's all we want. We want to be made to be felt important. Make me feel important. I wrote down here, great salespeople listen to the answers and determine what solution they'll provide and advise. I wrote down, when people feel you care, then they will open up to you. Think about what I just said. When people feel like you care, then they're going to open up to you, and you can get the answers you need as to the service they need. Do you guys get that? You need to get the answers from them. Here's the problem with most real estate agents. Most real estate agents listen with the intent, don't listen with the intent to understand. They listen with the intent to reply. You're not really listening. You want to reply. You want to do that. So, I wrote down here, speech or words is only a portion of communication. We also communicate by using facial expressions, posture, body language. In fact, we've heard this before, 7% of our ability to communicate is the words, 35% is the tonality, and the rest is about the body language. So it's not only the words we choose, but in fact how we present those words and the tone by which we're using. So The question I wrote down here is, what are you communicating? Are you communicating confidence or wimpiness? What are you communicating? Confidence or wimpiness? Average salespeople project a certain amount of wimpiness. When you walk up in front of a client, walk up to a client, and you shake hands with that client, do you shake hands with a full handshake or like a wet fish? Or dead fish, I guess. Not even a wet fish. Well, isn't it interesting? You all know what I'm talking about. All of you know exactly what I'm talking about. And it's the most interesting communication that we have. And yet, there are still people that do that kind of thing. And when they do it, it's like, ooh. That makes sense? So do you want to be an average salesperson, or do you want to be a superstar salesperson? What are you? How will your client know? Will they know by the way you communicate with them? Will you listen? How will you look? Will you know the market? If you know the market, do you exude confidence? Yes. If you know the market, will you exude confidence?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Okay. If you don't know the market, what tends to happen? Sorry? Wimpy. We feel wimpy, okay. What else?
The client doubts.
The client doubts. How does the client doubt?
Because you're not sure. You're not sure of what you're saying to them. And in your conversation will show that you're kind of fishing for an answer as opposed to being direct and to the point about what's going on in the market.
Okay, good. Go ahead.
The client feels like they may know more about the market than you.
If in fact that happens, what happens to your relationship with that client at that moment?
Not good.
Credibility goes down.
They doubt.
They start doubting you. Okay? They start doubting you. When you pick up a client, if you're on an open house, or you're door knocking, or you're phone canvassing, or you're on the phone, and the client says, yeah, I'm interested in a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, and you say, well, I'll look in the MLS, or I'll see what I can find in the computer, etc. That says one thing to the client, and you hear that, right?
Yes.
Now, it doesn't give you confidence, and it doesn't take anything away quite at that moment. However, if a client says to you, hey, I'm interested in a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house with a shake roof on a cul-de-sac, and I want one in Rowland Heights, and you could say, I saw 4 of those today. Do you want a red, green, or blue, or red, yellow one? You know? Do you want a 2-story or 1-story? Do you want it on a big cul-de-sac or a little cul-de-sac? How do they feel about you?
Confident.
Totally different. You could be the biggest bozo or bozette in the world. But because you sound like you know what you're talking about, they all of a sudden have great confidence in you. Got it?
Yeah.
That's huge. And the only way most of us can gain that is by what? Say it? You were wondering how I was going to get this in, huh? How the hell he's going to do that today? Previewing property. Seeing what's going on. I can teach you how to sell. I can teach you how to write in the contract. I can teach you what to say and how to say it. But I can't teach you confidence if you haven't seen the inventory. Can't be done. Okay? And let me tell you one more thing. Looking in the MLS at pictures, those of you that have previewed and those of you that have done that, how's that work? It's different, isn't it? When you're standing in front of the house on a street and there's the property and you've got a junker next door and a junker next door, you wouldn't have known that. You wouldn't have known that. But you drive up and you go, whoa, this looks terrible. Or the property you're looking at doesn't look good, but you got pristine houses all over the neighborhood. I'd like to know that as a potential buyer. That would be exciting for me. You don't know that if you haven't previewed the property and been in the neighborhood and seen what's going on. You don't know. preview those properties. Knowledge equals confidence. And those agents that are doing this more often are getting themselves to the next level. I had a conversation with one of our agents, one of our newer, been with us, well, actually 12 months. This gal's been with us for 12 months. Moved to California from the East. Didn't know this market at all. At all. 0, 0, 0. Young gal. No, she didn't have kids to rely on, no PTAs, none of that. So young gal, and no past client or sphere here, nothing. And all she could do is do what we asked her to do, which is preview property, etc. So last night I was talking to her. In her first 12 months in business, she's in a market she knew nothing about, zero, with limited funds, did $129,000 in gross income, which is more than she had ever made before working in the East. And she's seen 1,000 houses. I said, what do you think made the difference here? She said, let me tell you something. Very few people in Orange County know property better than I do. Okay? Young girl. Young girl. Powerful. She looks you right in the eye and she says, I know what's for sale. I know what has sold. I know what those streets look like. I got lost on those streets. I went around in circles on those streets. Okay? But think about this. Ground zero. Just work in the system. I need to make money. I have to make money. Put me on a direction, tell me what to do, how to do it, what to say, how to say it. Nothing more, nothing less. No past client sphere, no big REO accounts, none of that stuff. Now maybe you don't think $129,000 is a lot of money. Well, let me tell you something. If you got nothing at this point, and you got $129,000 at this point, that's a lot of dough. Okay? That's a lot of money. Especially for a young gal without a lot of responsibilities, bills, etc. But she saw 1,000 houses. She competes right now in her price ranges with any agent that has farmed that area for years. In 1 year, she's seen more houses than any agent in that area that's been in there for 10 years. Think about what that said. And here's the thing. So the question last night was, going to the next level, how fast is that going to happen? So the answer is, if you don't cut back on anything you're doing, if you continue doing what you're doing and you just raise that up, she already has a base of 1,000 houses that she doesn't have to see again, doesn't she? Think about that. No one can take that out of her brain. That's amazing. So now, the next year, she puts another 1,000 houses into her brain, talking to people, etc., etc. Confidence, knowledge equals confidence. One step at a time. Nothing special about special people, except they do what they're supposed to do every day, every week, every month, every day, every week, every month, every day, every week, every month, every day, every week, every month. That's it. That's what you need to do in the second quarter. Make that commitment. There are 13 weeks. Make a commitment. How many days am I going to work? How many 5-5-10s am I going to do? How many properties am I going to preview? How many properties expireds am I going to go see? What scripts and dialogues am I going to internalize and I'm going to own? She wasn't perfect at it. In fact, at best, maybe 60-65% of what we asked to do, did she do. But she did get the one thing right that I begged her to do. Preview property. She got that right. That hit that 1,000 number. And I believe that helped everything else come together. Today matters. What steps will you commit to doing today? You have 12 more Mondays. In fact, if you want to kind of cheat a little bit, You can still do a 5-5-10 before the sun goes down today. Okay? You can do that. After advanced script class at 2 o'clock, you can go out and still do a 5-5-10. It doesn't get dark till about 7:30. Plenty of time. Plenty of time. Start today. Start this afternoon. Get it done. Go see 5 expireds. Go see 5 previews. Go door knock 10 houses around each one. And do that for the next 13 weeks. 12 weeks, I guess. Time is running out. Because what's coming?
Christmas.
Christmas is coming. And it's going to be here sooner than you think. And if you want to have a great holiday for your family, if you want to have great holidays for yourself, if you want to take advantage of the trips and things that are going, the euro is low. You can go to Europe now. It's cheaper. Take some time. Take some time and do it. Enjoy it. But you got to make the money first. Today matters. Do your job. Every day, every week, every month, every day, every week, every month, every day, every week, every month. And then let's see what kind of an amazing quarter 2 is. Thank you.